Hi, I'm Daniel with Workshop Fitness, and this is part of a series of at-home workouts based off the Dungeons & Dragons character classes. Today we are doing Wizard. Wizards classically spend a lot of time studying spellbooks and poring over ancient tomes, which can lead to a lot of posture problems. So today's workout will be themed around reading books and casting spells, but all of the movements are going to help improve posture and strengthen the core. You will not need any extra weights for this. We'll be doing body weight exercises. We'll do each one for about a minute. Not worrying about counting reps today. And the workout will be broken up into 3 parts. We will start with a studying portion, then a longer spellcasting portion, and finally arcane recovery. Okay, we are going to get started with the studying portion, beginning with opening a giant spellbook. So for this one, keeping the core tight and back straight, we're going to hinge forward, bending over slightly, keeping that back nice and straight, again, working on posture. And we are going to draw our arms back as we open that book, pulling your shoulder blades down towards your back opposite pockets as we squeeze them together. This is also called a reverse fly, but I prefer to imagine opening a giant book. The magic system in D&D is based off of author Jack Vance's Dying Earth series. In the Vancian magic system, spellcasters will memorize certain syllables, which you can only fit a few of in your head at a time, and upon casting spells, these syllables will be erased from your mind until you rememorize them. A pretty versatile and adaptable system used in a lot of different gameplay systems, where casting a spell means you need to find some way to recharge before going again. Alright, book is open. We're going to move on to sitting and reading. So performing a squat. Feet about shoulder distance apart, core strong. Weight mostly in the heels. We're going to sink down to whatever depth is comfortable to you, and drive through those heels and midfoot, contracting the glutes up at the top of the movement as you straighten the legs. In this one, staying focused, maintaining good posture, trying not to arch the back as you sit down. Bending forward slightly is okay as long as you are trying to keep that spine straight and the core stays engaged. Again, any depth of squat is fine. Whatever is comfortable for you here. Wizards, of course, one of the 3 original classes in the game, along with Fighter and Cleric. Wizards were originally just called magic users. That wonderfully creative title was replaced by Mage in 2nd edition and became Wizard in 3rd edition. Alright, 3rd movement in the study section. We are laying down in a low plank so we can read in bed. For this, you want your elbows under your shoulders, contract that core to tuck the pelvis in, try and keep the back nice and straight, not letting the hips sink down, not raising them up too high. Trying to stay solid through the core as we hold here. About 30 more seconds. Planks are a great one for posture, forcing us to engage parts of the core that lots of other movements don't target. About 10 more seconds. And we'll be done with studying and move on to the fun part. 3, 2, 1. Knees drop. Alright. In the spellcasting portion, we will do 1 movement per school of magic, so 8 total, each one for about a minute, and we will cycle through twice. The first one we are going to do is a classic first level divination spell, Detect Magic. For this, standing up straight, core contracted and glutes contracted to maintain good posture. Bring the arms up in front, elbows bent at 90-degree angles, and pull those elbows apart, contracting the back muscles, squeezing the shoulder blades together, opening up that chest. Really good one if you spend a lot of time at a desk, your arms forward on a keyboard, or holding a phone in front of you. It can make the shoulders naturally roll forward, create a bit of a hunch. This is a great one for helping to counteract that, activating the muscles that pull the shoulders back, open up the chest, help straighten our posture a bit. Help to do a few of these before you sit down at a desk for a while. Try and prevent some of that forward slouching. 10 more seconds here. And trying to pull the shoulders down, not let them drift up to the ears too far. 3, 2, 1. And moving on to our next first level spell. This one is Conjuration. We are doing Find Familiar as a bird dog. So hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, core contracted, tucking the pelvis in, and extending opposite arm and opposite leg. For this, you really want to focus on not letting the back arch as you extend, but keeping a nice straight line, fingers through your toes, again, core contracted and pelvis tucked as we extend, using the glutes and lower back to raise the leg, upper back muscles raising the arm, and keeping the core steady and stable. Keep that chest facing the ground. Trying not to wobble too much side to side. 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, and on to our next spell. We're getting onto our backs for this one, going up to 3rd level, casting Hypnotic Pattern. This one you want the lower back pressed firmly into the ground, legs out straight, and we're going to cross one over the other. A lying leg raise cross. If this one does not feel good, crossing the legs, you can make it a flutter kick. That's a bit more comfortable. Or slow that down, do one leg at a time, raising right and then left, as long as that lower back is pressed firmly into the ground. Whatever works for you in this one. If it helps, it can also tuck your hands under your glutes. Sometimes that can help keep the lower back pressed down. 10 more seconds in this movement. And 3, 2, 1. Next, we are staying on our backs. 3rd level necromancy spell, Animate Dead. So, arms pointed up towards the ceiling, and contract the abs, lift your upper back up off the ground, reaching those hands up. An animated corpse, grasping for sunlight. Not a big range of motion in this one. Really trying to isolate those lower abs, lifting the upper body here. Trying to keep from straining the neck. Just let the abs lift you, even if you're not getting up very high. 20 more seconds here. Animate Dead, a classic necromancy spell. Allows you to create a little posse of undead to follow you around, as long as you recast the spell to maintain control. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Done with that. Staying on our backs, time for everybody's favorite spell. 3rd level evocation, we are casting Fireball. This one, you're going to start curled up into a little ball, then extend out and explode. Lower back remains pressed into the ground. Arms and legs outstretched in the explosion. Fireball spell. Says a bright streak of light flashes from your pointed finger and blossoms into a huge fiery ball. So we can imagine ourselves being a fiery ball here. If this one's not feeling good, we can do a dead bug. Keep the lower back on the ground. Just extend one arm and one leg at a time, back and forth. Or just make this a dead bug hold, keeping the lower back pressed flat on the ground. Let's go. Timer is dead. Let me check on that real quick. Alright, on to the next movement. This one we are flipping over onto our fronts. Time to fly. So arms and legs out straight and contract the back muscles to lift them up off the ground. Trying to lift your arms with the upper back muscles and not your shoulders. Lifting the legs with the glutes and lower back. If you want to add an extra challenge to this, you can make it a swimmer, raising opposite arm and opposite leg, keeping the others elevated off the ground. You can also put those arms out to the side. This is more comfortable, squeezing those shoulder blades together to keep the arms elevated, or bring the elbows to 90-degree angles. You can also drop the legs to the ground, just focus on the upper back, or put the arms on the ground and just lift the legs. Fly however you want here. Whatever works. 3, 2, 1. Alright, now getting up into a high plank. Hands under the shoulders, core tight, pelvis tucked, back straight. Our last third level spell, we are casting Counter Spell with a high plank rotation. Turning onto one side, and waving that hand to dismiss the incoming spell. If you don't want to do the rotation here, you can make this a static side plank. Both will keep the obliques engaged. In this one, elbow under the shoulder. Try to keep a straight line, top of the head, down through the middle of our body. Hit one side first time through and then switch to the second side on our next cycle. Otherwise, keep up those rotations. Engaging the core to stay balanced. Upper back muscles, lift that arm into the air. About 5 more seconds here. 3, 2, 1. All right, up onto our feet for the final spell. We're casting a 5th level enchantment, Hold Monster, for which we will do a squat hold. Feet shoulder distance apart, keeping the core contracted, sinking down to a depth comfortable to you, trying to keep the back straight as we hold. Depth, again, your modifier for intensity of this one, getting lower down, make it a bit more intense. Straightening the legs will take some of the pressure off. Anywhere in that spectrum is good. We're focusing on keeping the core strong and back straight. Good posture throughout the hold. 10 more seconds. Stay monster, frozen in place. 3, 2, 1, stand. All right, quick break. Then we are going to go back to the top. Start over with the Detect Magic. All right. If you're ready, we are going through all of those spells once more, beginning with Detect Magic. So core tight, glutes tight, good posture, arms up in front at 90 degrees, and pull them apart, squeezing shoulder blades together in the back, opening up the chest as you open up your third eye to see into the arcane weave and detect any magic within 30 feet, unless it's hidden behind a thin sheet of lead. Never really understood the lore reason for why lead stops detect magic, but probably a handy thing to have in place, so the spell doesn't break the game completely, uncovering every magical secret without any kind of save. 10 more seconds here. Standing chest opener. Warming up those upper back muscles. Alright, and dropping down into the bird dog for Find Familiar. Again, hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips, core contracted, pelvis tucked. Extending opposite arm and opposite leg. Just reaching out straight, not lifting up too high. Trying to prevent the back from arching. Find Familiar is a spell that's been around since the first edition, and sort of an iconic part of the wizard image. Witches and wizards having their little animal companions, often a cat or an owl, although D&D gives you a wider variety of familiars to choose from. 10 more seconds here. Keeping the pelvis tucked in, not arching the back. Full core activation here. And done. Moving on to the next. Which is, of course, nobody forgot, hypnotic pattern. Laying on your back, lower back pressed into the ground, legs raised, crossing one over the other. And keeping the hands under the glutes can help keep that lower back flat on the ground. This spell, conjure weaving lights that can hypnotize and charm anyone who sees them. It's fun to imagine someone, about to murder you, and you pull out some colored light up poi balls and give them a light show, and they say, "Hey, we're best friends now." You can flavor it however you want, but my wizards do poi. And 3, 2, 1, finished. Staying on our backs for Animate Dead. Contracting the abs, lifting the upper back off the ground. Really trying to isolate the lower abs here. Keep the upper body out of the movement. Not trying to swing ourselves forward with the arms. Just going straight up towards the ceiling, contracting that core. 30 more seconds. All right, 10. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On to Fireball. Lower back stays pressed into the ground, curling up into a ball, and exploding out. Or going into the Dead Bug, if you prefer that version. But we all love explosions. That's why everybody takes Fireball as soon as they're able to cast it. Great utility spell for cramped dungeons, small taverns. Never has any negative consequences. "15 more seconds here. And lower back pressed firmly into the ground, keeping that core engaged throughout. 5 more seconds. And done. All right, flipping over onto our front sides. Time to fly. Arms and legs out straight, contracting the back muscles to lift up off the ground. And hold here. We can do swimmers, lifting opposite arms and opposite legs. We can go out into a T pose, or bend those elbows 90 degrees. You can rest the legs, rest the arms. Find whatever version of this feels right for you. And Just imagine soaring through the air. 20 more seconds. Pulling those shoulder blades down towards your butt. Try not to let the shoulders drift towards the ears. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, getting up into a high plank for the high plank rotation counterspell. Turning the torso, waving an arm to disrupt the spell you see being cast. Doing it slow and controlled, just getting the arms to parallel with each other. Don't want to reach back too far and lose balance. If you did a side plank in the first cycle, just hit the opposite side this time through. Either way, keeping those obliques engaged. Keep that spine straight. Strong obliques are important for maintaining good posture and for casting abjuration spells, which it doesn't mention in the handbook, but it's definitely part of the lore. About 10 more seconds here. Strong core, slow and controlled movement. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Alright, drop the knees down and slowly get to your feet for the last spell. Old monster once again. So squat hold, core tight, sinking down, weight in the heels and midfoot. Trying to keep the back from arching. Holding that squat position. 30 more seconds here. Trying to maintain good posture while sitting. Great thing to work on. 15 seconds left. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Finished. Alright, we are going into arcane recovery now. Get down on one knee on the ground, the other propped up. Contract your core, lean forward slightly. You feel a nice stretch in the hip flexor there. Stretching out the hip flexor. Great way to help with posture. Can often get tight if we're sitting all day. So it's important to help loosen that up so it doesn't cause us to hunch forward while we're standing. Switch to the other side. Same idea, contracting the core will help stretch out the hip flexor. Lean forward a little so you feel a decent amount of stretch. You don't want to be hurting yourself. 10 more seconds. Three, 2, 1, and down on all fours, hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. We're going to do a cat-cow, so we will arch our back, contracting the core, then arch the opposite way, chest sticking out, contracting the back muscles, and back to the cat arch, and the cow. Great one for loosening up the abs and the back muscles. Really a good one to work into your daily routine if you have any posture issues or back pain. Alright, now going down into a cobra pose. Legs on the ground, pushing that chest up, stretching out the abs. You can do this up on your hands or down on the forearms if that's more comfortable. And pushing the hips back, going into child's pose. So hips back by your heels, arms outstretched, stretching out the low back. And done. Great work. Thanks for sticking with this one. Whatever else you've got going on, strengthening the core is always going to be worth the time. Lots of benefits to that beyond just posture, but hopefully it helps with that too. If you enjoyed this workout, be sure to check out the rest of them. We'll have one for every class. If there are any other workouts you'd like to see, any requests or suggestions, please let me know. Our goal, as always, is to find what works for you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.